What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Fantasy Alarm live stream. Doing a different style here in the wake of this whole going on sports thing going on right now. With a little something that we like to call Meet the Family. If you caught yesterday's live stream, we met Adam Ronis talking all sorts of fun stuff with him. Today, Jen Piacenti. And I think a lot of people have been waiting for this one, Jen.
I don't think so. No. I think we may end up talking about free agency.
I don't know. I mean, do you want to talk about free agency, or would you prefer to talk about yourself?
No, I want to talk about you, Howard.
I definitely don't need to talk about me. This isn't Meet Howard Bender. This is Meet Jen Piacenti. Listen, You've had time to prepare for this. You saw I didn't ruin Adam Ronis.
I've been me for a long time. I've prepared for this. I can do an hour. Yeah. You didn't ruin Adam Ronis, but you did frighten me a little at the end. It sounded like maybe you and Ronis might have questions for me that I might be afraid to answer.
No, I don't think so.
No.
We like to keep this family friendly, you know?
G rated. Cool.
And we also happen to watching. I was just gonna say Rick Piacenti's watching. There's no doubt that Rick
definitely
Piacenti
watching. No
and
doubt.
I can't cross any kind of a line there for fear that I won't get a Rick Piacenti pizza. And that's really what my top priority is.
Yeah. Should be. That's right.
And I know it's right. So let's get through it here. And let me ask you, how are you dealing with this? Because you actually traveled last week. You went to New York to do the Gotham Diamond District draft.
I did.
Was your plane empty?
Yeah, it was mostly empty. I got upgraded both ways, which was good. And no one was sitting next to me. So pretty much it was the best social distancing I've had in a long time on Delta. I went to New York. I got there. You know, there were still some people around because it's New York City. But after we got there, of course, the draft was canceled, moved to online, and then we canceled the online as well. Tout Wars, of course, did go forward, so I was able to still do the series broadcast. But I actually still did have one in-person draft. And I spent all of Friday in a conference room on the Upper East Side with about 20 other guys, hedge fund guys, having it catered. And we all were wearing, people were wearing gloves, and we had a Bloody Mary bar, and we had a great time. So I do have one team. What is this? Did
you sit like this the whole time?
I didn't. I probably should have.
Right?
I probably should have.
You're not.
I had a lot of Purell. Had my own Purell.
Yeah. I've got my own hand sanitizer. Like, literally no contact with anybody.
No.
And yet I continue to just use it over and over again.
It's going to be compulsive. Can you imagine how clean we're going to be for the rest of our lives now? And, I'm in my sports cave, even though it looks like I'm on a beach. I've got.
Now, let me ask you here. How are you dealing with the no sports? Like, what are you doing to fill the time now?
So, you know what? Crazily, I haven't had that much time because I was in New York, and then I spent an entire day flying, because usually it's a whole day when you go east-west. And then a lot of NFL news has come out. I was still doing some baseball writing and looking up, and so it hasn't slowed down a lot yet for me. I watched a UFO documentary yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, it's very strange.
Do you believe in UFOs?
Not necessarily, but I have a strange obsession with Bob Lazar.
With what?
If you don't know who Bob Lazar is, look him up.
Why don't you tell us who Bob Lazar is, and why do you have an obsession with him? I'll Google while you're talking about him.
So Bob Lazar, and by the way, you can watch videos of Bob Lazar by people who read body language, and they'll say over and over again, the guy is not lying. Bob Lazar claims that he worked at Area 51 and worked on an alien spacecraft. And it's very compelling. It's very compelling.
So, all right, well, let's dive in a little bit deeper. I know I see you trying to hedge here, Jen, but let's. Alien spaceship comes down, close encounters. Yeah. You see the flashing lights and the music, and all of a sudden the spaceship door opens up, and all these people come out from like past times, and then all of a sudden you're Richard Dreyfuss. Do you get on that spaceship, Jen?
Yeah, I want to be Cocoon.
Cocoon. You're willing to subject yourself to any testing, probing, alien kind of questioning or anything like that?
No. And I don't want to have hybrids.
Alien hybrids? This isn't Star Trek, Jen. This isn't like Captain Kirk having sex with some blue lady.
Listen, there's no sports. What am I supposed to do?
Well, let's figure it out. Let's talk hobbies of Jen Piacenti. Like, all right, okay. We could definitely dive into the entire musical theater background of you. And again, obviously, bless your heart, Rick, for posting those pictures of Jen in her jazz dance outfits and the videos of her doing the pajama game. What's up, babe?
Yeah. 7.5 cents. Yeah, I want you to know I actually studied opera in school. So I have a master's degree in vocal pedagogy. I have been a professor in the past. I've had a very strange life, Howard. There's a lot of things about me you probably don't know. What is vocal pedagogy, one might ask? Pedagogy, one might, is actually teaching how to teaching people how to sing. So it's how to instruct voice lessons and fix problems. So yeah, that's what my master's degree is in. My undergrad is in vocal performance. So when I moved to New York, I actually sang opera in New York for quite a while.
Okay. What was the first?
It's really cool, right? It's cool.
It actually is.
Sing opera.
Pull the curtain behind on Bender, and he'll tell you 2 years at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Oh.
And I can jump into all of that with you. The only reason I recognize it as the pajama game was because, in the 9th grade, I played Sid Sorokin, and I did that same production that you did. So I could sing There Once Was a Man, and Hey There, and Racing with the Clock, and all those other fun things. See?
I think we know what we're doing next Wednesday at 3 p.m.
Do the duet?
Yeah.
What was the first organized production you've ever done?
First organized production I ever did was definitely at the church. And I think I was in Singing Angel, something like that. I can't remember what it was. So I would say like my real first organized production was at high school, and it was the Velveteen Rabbit, and I was the Velveteen Rabbit. You may see video footage on my dad's site.
I was going to say, has Rick given us that look?
He has. My mom made the costume. I'm actually a giant rabbit singing.
With a floppy ear?
Ears, yeah.
Floppy ear? Okay, so Velveteen Rabbit was your first organized production. That was high school, you said?
That was high school. I was 13.
All right. Favorite
school.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Why? Because you're so smart?
I was precocious. I don't know if I was smart. I was precocious. I could read very, very early. I could read early. I could read at 3. And I got to pre-K and I was bored. Apparently I was being dramatic. Like they would be like teaching and I just have my head down on the desk, rolling my eyes like I typically do. Like, God, I have to sit through this. So they gave me a couple tests. I said, fine, she can go to first grade. And so I ended up graduating at 17 or whatever. Very impressive, I know.
Okay. And then from high school on to what?
High school on to college.
Where'd you go?
TCU, Horned Frogs. LaDainian Tomlinson, Andy Dalton. Hey, he could be the new QB for the New England Patriots. You never know.
All right, so you go to TCU. Productions at TCU include?
Productions at TCU include Suor Angelica, Hansel und Gretel. I was doing opera at TCU. You didn't do opera or musical theater. You had to choose. You were either a theater major or you were an opera major. So I chose to study voice. And then within voice, you were either an education major or performance major. Most of the people went education because then they could have like guaranteed work, teaching high school choir. But I knew I didn't want to teach high school choir or middle school choir. So I really made the really smart move and decided to just get a degree in performing.
Okay. How much
Very
advance notice do we need to give you before you can bust out like some Tornado for us?
I can bust it out now, probably, but I don't know if it'll sound good. How about some?
How about it?
All right. Che il mio cor festi prima palpitare l'amor me rammentar. Hold on, I'll give you high note. Col pensier il mio desirate sempremo sospir but I didn't warm up, so don't hold it against me.
Come on. I mean, if this were American Idol, I'd be like, you're a little pitchy dog, but you know.
Yeah, I was sitting here in a slump, not warmed up, but you know.
You gotta expand the diaphragm, get your frame right.
By the way, I see Randy Johnson regularly in the neighborhood.
Randy Johnson or Randy Jackson?
Randy Jackson! Oh, sorry. Randy Johnson would be awesome, though.
Randy Johnson would be absolutely awesome. Well, there you go, guys. So far, I mean, come on. Already better than Ronas. 100%. You got some opera in there. We're getting a little insight into the precociousness of a young Jen Piacenti. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Twitter. You can catch it on the cover of the homepage of fantasyalarm.com. And if you go in through any of these formats, we've got open Q&A here. You can ask Jen Piacenti anything you want. Family friendly, because her dad's watching, and he'll kick my ass if anything bad happens. So by all means. And actually, I've got a couple of questions already. Jen, are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, bring them on. Bring them on.
At, I guess, Cole Turrell, what does it feel like to have your dad troll you on a platform like Twitter?
You know what? It's kind of okay. Sometimes it bugs me when you post a photo and people then are like, oh, Jen used to be pudgy or Jen used to be whatever. But you know what? It's true. Jen used to be pudgy. Even when I was it's because I ate so much pizza and ice cream. That was my entire diet. It's cool.
What's wrong with pizza and ice cream? Come on.
Nothing. I still eat that. I just, drink peroxide afterward so I can stay thin. Just kidding. I don't really do that. That was a joke.
Was it though? Was it?
It was. Oh, I know. I have a non-vomiting record.
You have a non-vomit, like a Jerry Seinfeld non-vomiting record.
Yeah, like I haven't since I was 9 years old. And that's been a while now. That's been like 20 years.
That like no drunken kind of.
Nope.
None.
I have never vomited from drinking.
Really?
Yep, that is true. And I have had my fair share of beverages.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Challenge accepted.
Yeah, but then please don't take me swimming afterward or we'll be in big trouble.
We're talking bananas, swimming pool, you name it. Look at that. All right. Listen, I love it. I absolutely love it. Thomas Davis wants to know how many MLB ballparks you've been to. You can include spring training sites if you want.
Okay, actually not that many. I think I've only been to maybe 6 or 7. I've been to Arlington Stadium, which is now, I don't know, Globe Life Field or Globe Life Park or whatever you want to call it. I've obviously been to Minute Maid. I've been to Yankee Stadium, both of them. I've been to Shea. I've been to City. I've been to Fenway. I've been to Wrigley. And I've been to spring training, the Astros spring training in West Palm. I've been to Dodger Stadium. That's it. So not that many.
I mean, did you? I wasn't counting along there because I was sitting here looking and figuring that at Cultural is one of your brothers.
Nope.
Are you sure?
Positive.
100% positive. How many brothers do you have?
Positive. I have 4.
You have 4. Because this one, Cultural wants to know. It's Coletural. You know who that is? Who is it?
He is. Okay. I used to be his teacher.
Because he wants to know, did your love for sports start when you threw a can of biscuits at your brother?
Okay.
Wait a minute here. I don't have any popcorn to sit and enjoy this story here. How did Jen Piacenti get so into sports?
Well, how did Jen Piacenti get so into sports is just probably my dad and my uncles played sports all the time. And I would go watch their intramural softball games. And I was the only one that would go because basically I could get a free Coke from the Igloo afterward, or maybe my dad would take me for ice cream. That was how it started. And then, of course, you learn and you get excited and you root for the team and all that kind of stuff. The biscuit story, on the other hand, has to do with my rage, my Italian temper, and my brother being a total brat. So my brother Kent used to, well, we were 3 years apart, right? So when I was a senior, he was a freshman. And he used to be so obnoxious. He used to manipulate my mom like you have no idea. And he used to irritate me because he could get my mom to do anything he wanted. If he wanted to go to the Arby's, he could get her to go to the Arby's. If he wanted to do blah, blah, blah. And nobody else could get mom to do these things, but somehow he could manipulate her into it. So one day we're home from musical practice because we're doing the pajama game. And then I have dance class later that night, right? Because I spent every night at the dance studio. And we have like an hour in between. And he was taking dance lessons too, by the way. So I go to the refrigerator and I'm like, well, we don't really have much to eat because I'm the oldest of 5. So I'm constantly feeding us and making us meals and stuff. I said, but there's this can of biscuits and we could have this before we go to dance class. And he's like, I'm not eating biscuits. And I'm like, what do you mean you're not eating biscuits? He's like, I'm going to get mom to get me what I want from Arby's before we go. I'm like, you're not going to get mom to get you whatever you want. Meanwhile, he's wearing a black t-shirt that says whatever in big capital letters across. And he's like, yes, I am. Don't tell me. He starts doing this, right? And so I take the thing back and I said, don't you wag your neck at me. And I take it back and I hurl it at him. And the second I release it, I realize like I did something really bad because it's like, and it's going fast. It's going hard right at his head. He goes like this, barely misses, hits the wall. Biscuits pop out all over the living room. So that like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'm picking up the biscuits and I forget that he's now 6'1", right? And he stands up and he starts like, pick up the biscuits, pick up the biscuits. And I'm on hands and knees picking up biscuits and putting them away. I'm sorry. And the whole thing just became like this joke. And he would tell everybody that I was mean. I threw biscuits at him. And one time he gave a can of biscuits to the entire high school choir. And when I came in, they all pelted me with them. And he was just mean. Howard, he was just mean. My brothers were mean to me.
Wait. So you're the oldest of 5. So 4 younger brothers here.
4 younger brothers.
This one. So which brother is this?
This is Kent, the one that's now a lawyer.
So
you saw him? He's the one that gave me the pie.
Oh, my man Kent. Let me give you a fist bump on that one, buddy. That was good. Okay, so is Kent the oldest of the brothers?
He's the oldest of the brothers.
What's that?
Yes, he's the oldest of the brothers. So it's
okay.
Kent, Jonathan, who has legally changed his name to Fox Danger.
Fox Danger?
Yeah.
Kind of like
his name is Fox Danger Piacenti. And then Dakota.
Okay.
And then Joseph, who's my rock star brother. He's in a band.
What kind of music do they play?
They play, well, he was always into alternative growing up, but he's been doing more like country pop these days.
All right. I like it. All right, so a musical family then. Where's the musical side come from, mom or dad?
Mom.
Okay.
Definitely mom. Yeah. She plays the guitar and the ukulele, and she sings.
I did know that she played the ukulele. She was practicing while we were doing a live stream on like a Sunday morning or something like that.
Yeah, she rocks the uke.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yes, so much bitterness in that story of the biscuits over there. I'm just making sure that I'm not missing any questions here. People want to know, Jen. People want to know Jen Piacenti. So, all right. So, growing up, your brothers played sports. Your dad took you to games.
No.
I remember that.
No. My brothers never played a sport. Not a single one of them.
None of your brothers
played tennis later. No.
So basically, you became the sports aficionado of the crew?
I'm the only one that knows anything about sports. Yes, that is true.
How does Fox Danger not know anything about sports?
Fox Danger knows about computer programming and things like that. Yeah, I know. He knows nothing.
All right. Well, legally changing his name to obviously his gamer handle. So
yes.
I'm with you on that. So, all right. So then your brothers never played sports, but I do know that you went to games with your dad. I remember the story of when you and your dad went to the World Series. How did you end up in the fantasy sports world? Like, because you were in that Gotham Diamond District League before you were even over at Fantasy Alarm. You and Ronas knew each other from that. So how did fantasy sports become a part of Jen Piacenti's life?
So I always loved baseball from watching it from a young age. And then when I was in New York, I just decided one day I heard people talking about how they were playing fantasy sports and playing fantasy baseball. And I just kind of was like, whatever. I think I would be good at fantasy baseball. I mean, I'm good at blackjack. I like to play games. Why not? So this was back when MLB still had, baseball, fantasy baseball. So I went online to MLB and I put Yadi Molina as my catcher and whatever. And I won playing at strangers. And so then I just kind of got obsessed with it. And then this is a really funny story. So I would post about my fantasy baseball teams on social media, and I was performing in New York. And one day somebody saw me in a performance and they went to my social media, my Facebook, to send me a direct message like, I really liked your performance today. You were great. And by the way, I noticed that you play fantasy baseball too. I was like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, I have a fantasy baseball team. I promise I'm not weird. I know this person and this person, et cetera, et cetera. And it seems like you know a lot about the NL, and I'm a Yankees fan. I only know about the AL and I can't win my league. Would you consider coming on as my partner? Anyway, it turns out he's part of this league that is a big money league with all these hedge fund guys. This is the one I did on Friday. Jason Collette was their auctioneer. So I went in. We finished fourth that year, the highest he'd ever finished. I met Jason Collette. Jason Collette invited me to watch Tout Wars at Sirius XM the next year, and the rest is history. That's the whole story.
It's a pretty good story. So how many years have you been in the Gotham Diamond District League?
I think 4 or 5.
Okay.
4 or 5, yeah.
4 or 5. Have you won that league yet?
I have not.
Yeah.
I have not, which is a bummer because last year I was in second at All-Star break. But Alex Cushing is just, God, he's good. But I do believe I beat Adam Ronas every single year in that league.
Ooh.
I'm sure I have.
Now, Rick Wolf and Glenn Colton both in that league as well?
Yes.
Same team, or do they share a team in that one?
They share a team.
What's up with that? All right, let's talk just you and me. Nobody's listening. Nobody's watching here. Right? Okay. Rick and Glenn perpetually sharing teams. Do you think if they separated at any point, do you think they would finish higher than second to last in last place? I mean, if I had a partner for any of my fantasy teams to pick up the slack for when I'm working, I'm sure my team would do a little bit better. No?
I don't know. So I have partners in Moneyball League, and I don't think it necessarily helps because the other thing you have to do is give in to them when you don't agree with them sometimes. So
there is give and take. Yeah. Yeah. I listen, I can understand that. So how many partners do you have in that league? Just one?
So it's a father and son and me.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a little bit more of, now I've become more dominant lately. They trust me a little more now, but it's so funny, Howard. It's the cutest. Like they'll send me like in our WhatsApp chat, like something that I already did a video about and wrote an article about like 2 days ago, like it's news. And I'm like, guys, I know.
Oh, so your partners are the fantasy owls. Somebody gets nominated at the auction, they're like, who? So they need
Not
you.
anymore. They do. But
they
well.
do.
Yeah. Well, we're a good team. We work together well.
Now,
they're British.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, I mean, it's an American sport, right?
Sure.
So it's adorable because when they bid, you're like, $2, $3. I'm like, it's adorable. For the Brits in the room.
Well, anything's better than listening to Glenn Colton go, "Two!" Tail end of any auction.
I've heard that a lot.
I'm sure you have. Like, you knew when I was talking about that on Sirius, I'm sure that
I totally had heard it.
Massive experience with that. I actually, like all of a sudden I couldn't believe that they were down to dollar days in the AL only Tout Wars auction, and I still had $4 left. And I was like, yes, thank God. Didn't get to drop the hammer on them though, but yeah, what are you gonna do? All right, so man, so 4 years in the Gotham Diamond District League. How many years in this other league? So how many years have you been doing fantasy sports?
I think Moneyball I've been in for 7 or 8 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think 7 or 8 years now in Moneyball. And then before that, it was just me doing it on my own on ESPN. But, I think when I came into Gotham, for instance, I think I finished 3rd or 4th the first year I was there. And it was fun because I don't think anyone expected like a nobody to be able to come in and play. But I did my research too, So,
well, I mean, let's face it. This business is riddled with sausage. There's no good way to say it. It's a very male-dominated sort of business. Which then, obviously, like, how do you deal with that? Like, Brandon Marianne Lee, who used to work over at Fantasy Alarm, she's since retired from the fantasy industry. You've got like her and Stefania Bell and Liz Loza. So you really don't have a strong female contingency. Stacey Stern is one of the others. Can't forget Stacey Stern. I would never forgive myself. Do you find that intimidates guys like in the industry that you're a woman? No.
No,
do
not
they
at
not
all.
take you seriously as a woman?
Sometimes.
That's what it is.
Yes,
all right.
Absolutely. Yeah, that definitely happens. But it's always okay because in the end, whenever, like I said, whenever you play out a league and you beat them or you compete with them or you make a great trade, they kind of go, oh, okay. I mean, for the most part, the guys in the industry are pretty cool. But there's definitely, a level where they get surprised if you remember somebody at the end or you put the hammer on them or something, like they do at first. Now I think they figured out, the guys that I play with, that I'm really playing. But yeah, in general, I remember one time somebody said something about one of my football takes or something. And I was just like, I was another analyst. And I was just like, all right, if you don't want to take me seriously, it's your problem, but I'm just going to let it slide off my back.
All right. I mean, listen,
okay.
I guess with anything, you got to pick and choose your battles of where to do it.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. I mean, the thing is, maybe I don't think the same way as a guy, and maybe that's exactly why it's valid, because I can think a little differently and think outside the box. I know that I assemble my baseball teams differently. I know that I do. But they win and they're good teams. And I think about things differently. And sometimes that just works. And like the world is made of yin and yang. So I just have my perspective and I stick with it.
I mean, listen, there's always more than one way to skin a cat / win a fantasy championship. But now I'm kind of curious. Give me some of this women's intuition. Like I feel like this football take that you got criticized for, I feel like you know exactly what it was, and I'm dying to know.
I can't actually remember what it was. I try to let things roll off my back.
All right.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But it was like somebody was like, that player sucks. You just something. And I was like, okay, whatever. And he didn't end up sucking, by the way. So it was something like that. But no, I don't. I try not to let things. I cry about them for like a minute, or I feel hurt for a second, and then I just try to move on. But you definitely get that like she's just a blonde bimbo kind of reaction sometimes, and whatever.
Bimbo, yeah. I don't know. I don't think I ever would have pegged you for that. You don't strike me as a bimbo. That's
really
kind of what it is. Well, I feel like bimbo is like ditzy airhead kind of. Well, now when you tuck your hair behind your ear like that, yeah, now you kind of look like bimbo.
I'm so ditzy, you guys. I actually really am ditzy, and my favorite roles to play are always dumb blondes because like half of it's not acting. I'm pretty ditzy.
All right, give me your most blonde moment.
Oh, what about the time that I had an assignment to put in a weekly article on outfielders, and I did it once, and I was only supposed to do it one time? That was pretty ditzy.
Well, I don't know about that because there were other people who didn't realize either. So I'm sure John and Brenda now thanks you for throwing him under the bus.
No, I didn't. No, I'm taking credit for that. That was ditzy. I went back and reread the assignment, and I should have known better.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I'm not going to count that one. Why? Really give me a blonde moment. I mean, a really blonde moment. I'm sure you've got one or two or 6 or 9 or 12 or 15.
I should have prepared for this. I know that I have a lot of them.
You didn't know what questions were coming at you. How are you going to prepare?
I didn't know. I know. I didn't know. I'll think of one and I'll let you know.
Well, this is like an uncensored. Well, no, we are censored. We're family friendly, but this is like I wanted to make these as natural as possible. I wanted to because listen, I mean, to me, it's important to get to know people. We've got this culture at Fantasy Alarm that's all family oriented. We look at our subscribers, not as subscribers, not as people we're making money off of. We sit and we talk to them in chat. We talk to them in Twitter all over the place. I know people, I know their families. I know their kids' names. I know when, birthdays are and stuff like that. And I think that's actually really important, which is why this whole Meet the Family campaign, this was the absolute perfect time to do it. With no sports, we could actually kind of get down and dirty and learn a little bit more about each other. So that's kind of why I wanted to do it. Someone
did ask how tall I am. And the answer to that is 5'2" and 1/4. The 1/4 is very important.
Here's the thing, because that actually was. I found out how tall you were. You had told me. We were on a live stream. Now I'm picturing you because when we do these live streams, 6 foot blonde.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm totally serious. I am 100% serious. I thought you were like this, 6 foot blonde. There's elegance. There's, because of the also the performance aspect of it. I mean,
you probably thought I played sports too.
No. You don't seem very coordinated. Sorry, I just saw you try to throw biscuits, and now it's like I
am so coordinated. Look at this shit.
Ooh,
see?
Look at that. Look at that. All right. I'm sure your dad's super proud that you just did that on camera for everybody and used the bad word all in one fell swoop. Rick Piacenti, I'm sorry I'm bringing this out in your daughter now. Now all of a sudden she's all feisty and angry and using terrible language. Oh, my Lord.
No one would notice if you didn't say anything.
Really? Well, all right. So let's talk about the height. So somebody asked you how tall you were. I found out 5'2" and 1/4. I'll give you the 5'2" and 1/4. You were at least 5'3" and 1/2 when I met you in person for the first time because your hair was a little taller. You just had that new haircut.
I have to curl my hair every day now because of that haircut.
No, I did not know that.
Look, I had to curl it. Because it's so bad. Otherwise, it would just be like mullet.
Now, tell me, because I'm looking at a picture now that your dad tweeted out. And we'll get into the life and times of Rick Piacenti too. This jazz outfit, this dance outfit you have, all sorts of sequins.
Mm-hmm.
Jen Piacenti did not start blonde.
Now, okay, so that is not true. I was born a blonde.
Uh-huh.
And my hair is dark blonde. And the more I'm inside, the darker it looks. You can see. So you can see it's dark blonde.
Gotcha.
There you go. You're getting the real hair color. And then the ends that have been in the sun get blonde.
Ah. So you spend a lot of time outdoors.
I do now. I spend a ton of time outdoors. I moved to California. Obviously, and when I was in New York, I actually spent time outdoors every single day because I would walk to work every day across the park. And I was outside. I walked across Central Park every day to work and back. So I was outside all the time, constantly. Then I had a dog. So, I mean, I was constantly outside in New York. When I was in Texas, I was never outside. I was always in the air conditioning, and I was always in the theater, and I was always in the dance studio. So, yeah, my hair got darker blonde, but it's still blonde. If you look, that one picture, it does look really dark. I think it's just, I don't know what the lighting is, but you'll see other pictures he posts. You'll see variations of blonde.
Well, I did see variations of blonde, which is why I thought when I was like, wow, how old were you in that picture? In that dance outfit. You know which one I'm talking about.
I think I was 16.
16. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Right on.
Maybe I was 14. Something like that.
Okay. So now let's dive into some of the New York habits of Jen Piacenti. So how many years did you live in New York City?
I can't tell you that because people can do math and then they might figure things out, but a lot.
Okay. So you spent a few years in New York City.
More than a few years.
We'll just
I
say
am an official New Yorker.
All right. Okay. Well, let's find out. So then best pizza place you've been to in New York is?
Lombardi's.
Where is it?
It's on Mott and Spring.
Mott and Spring. Okay. That's your best pizza? Best Chinese food?
I'm not a big Chinese food fan, but I'd probably say Ollie's.
Not a big Chinese? Why aren't you a big Chinese food fan?
Just not. I know people don't like that about me, but I'm not a big Chinese food fan.
Well, you're definitely not an honorary Jew. That's for sure. You
No.
can't. You cannot come to. You cannot come to my house for Sunday dinner.
Okay.
Not allowed.
Okay. Fine.
All right. Ollie's best hot dog in the city.
Again, I don't like hot dogs. I don't think I ever had a hot dog in the city because I don't eat hot dogs.
Okay. Can't even say the ballpark. Okay.
Not even at the ballpark.
Well,
except for I did have a Dodger dog.
All right. So no hot dogs, no Chinese. Jen Piacenti, what is your favorite food?
Pizza.
But it's got to be made by your dad.
No, yes, my dad's pizza is amazing, but I like all kinds of pizza. I love Italian food. After that is Mexican food. After that is probably like American food, like a steak. And after that's probably sushi.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Bad. I don't know. I'm just, I'm an eater. I don't do the seafood
I'm an eater
thing,
too.
But I go through the city, and when I'm in New York again, I'm like, I got to go up to Gray's Papaya on 86th and 3rd.
Oh, yeah.
My wife has to get Chinese food at Shun Li. I have to get pizza at pretty much anywhere.
That's the answer. Shun Li is the answer. That is the best Chinese food.
Is
That's the right answer. It is across from Lincoln Center. It is. Dim sum. That is good.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Favorite attraction of New York?
I have to say Broadway, right?
No, you don't have to.
Yeah, it's my favorite. Lincoln Center is the next, and then probably the Empire State Building.
Ooh, all right. I could dig on the Empire State Building. Definitely.
I did also like biking over the Brooklyn Bridge and back. That was always fun.
Did you ever live out in Brooklyn?
I never lived in Brooklyn. No.
Smart.
I lived on the Upper West Side.
Oh, we're on the Upper West Side. I was on 90. I was on 94 in Amsterdam. Where were you?
Most recently, 82nd between Central Park West and Columbus.
Oh,
yeah.
I think
right by the museum.
Where was it that I tended bar right over there?
I'm sure.
Calle Ocho?
Calle Ocho, yes! Okay, Mojito Mondays, buy one, get one free. Used to go like every Monday, and they had the best brunch. So I've spent a fair amount of time at Calle. That was a nice gig.
Yeah, unless you really know how to make a mojito, and then no, it's obviously your least fun day because no bartender likes to muddle.
Make a mojito,
right?
yeah.
Get the Popeye forearm in there.
Oh,
no good. No good. All right, favorite bar in New York?
Oh, favorite bar in New York. Ooh. There's so many good ones.
The answer is any bar you were working at the time, Howard, but you never knew I was there.
Any bar you were working at the time, but I didn't know you were there. Heartland Brewery in Midtown, right?
Yeah, that's where I was. Almost ended up the mayor of that area. Well, I kind of was the mayor. Actually, somebody actually wanted me to run for Congress in that district.
Really?
I was like Woody Harrelson, like, all of a sudden Woody from Cheers is a congressman, that kind of a thing. I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. What you go back to New York relatively often, a couple times a year?
A couple times a year, yeah.
What do you miss most about about New York City when you're living out here in California?
I miss being able to just get anywhere instantly on my feet. Just be able to, I don't have it, I'll just run to the Walgreens. I don't have it, I'll just run to the dry cleaner, or I'll just run out for food. And you'd think that restaurants would be open at late here in LA. They're not. And delivery's not open very late here either. And I got spoiled because I could call Big Nick's at 3 a.m. and have them deliver one slice to my door. One slice. Big Nick's will bring you one slice at 3 a.m. So I was very spoiled that way.
Yeah, there are no diners here in Northern California, or if there are, they're nowhere near where I'm at, and I can't get diner food. I can't call I used to when I was living on the Upper East Side, I used to call the Green Kitchen at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning after a night out, and just settle in with some pancakes for breakfast. I do miss that too. The city that never sleeps. 100%. 100%. All right. So now, obviously, we're trying to work you as much as possible over at Fantasy Alarm. You're doing all of these videos, the instant reactions to the NFL free agency. Those have been running great. You've been doing some promotional videos for our MLB draft guide, things like that. But it's not enough to fill the hours of the day here, Jen. We know it's not enough to fill the hours in the day. So let's talk about it. At night, are you sit at home on the couch and binge watch a TV show? Are you a go to the movies type gal? What are you doing with yourself?
I don't do either of those things. I read and I play the guitar and I sing and I play the piano.
Who reads nowadays? Come on.
I don't know. I do. I read mysteries and things like that. And I don't do. I mean, it. And you're right. It's weird because I usually do have sports on. So now it's only been a few days really that I guess I haven't been watching sports. I don't know what I do. It's a great question. What do I do?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Talk to my friends.
Well, I'm intrigued by the whole musician thing because obviously if you're playing guitar and you're and you're playing your keyboard.
You know what I do?
No.
I play tennis. So I'm learning to play tennis and I just started a year ago. So I do a fair amount of that because I need a lot of practice. So I actually rent a ball machine and I go a few times a week for an hour or two and just smack forehands and backhands.
Which is better, your forehand or your backhand?
It depends on the day. Usually my backhand, but sometimes my forehand, I'm not very good.
Yeah, I got to figure with 4 younger brothers, your backhand is probably a little bit stronger.
It feels a little bit more like a little power there, yeah. It's a pretty good shot.
Do you with all your musicianship and your amazing voice and your versatility, when is the Jen Piacenti band forming?
That's a good question. I was thinking of writing, doing a song in honor of the New England fans. Kind of like, Brady, come back. Any kind of cool thing. You were wrong. And we just can't win without you. something like that. We could do like an all Brady album, or we could do like, free agency album.
Okay, listen.
Weird Al Yankovic. What do you think?
I'm 100% in on producing that. Let's get writing.
I got some ideas. We got all kinds of people moving around, and we can do like, and then like the people in Tampa Bay can be like, like something like, be my little Brady. They can all be excited, so we can get like the sad songs and the happy songs, and I don't know. I'm bored.
No. And here's another reason why these live streams are so great, because now this is a project we're moving forward with now, because listen, there's no sports. We have to come up with different ways. Jen Piacenti is going to cut an NFL free agency album for us. We're going to have songs, and you know what? We can sell my my Corona song that I sang on Alarm After Hours the other day. We can use that as like a bonus track.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on. So if you guys want to suggest some song titles, throw them this way.
Absolutely. At Jen Piacenti on the old Twitter machine. You can hit me up at RotoBuzzGuy. If you've got a song, Jen and I will write it. Jen will perform it. And I'm telling you, this is it. We're going to drive it up the charts on iTunes. The most
huge,
highly asked for album of all time. Oh, I love this idea now.
Bam.
See? I love this idea.
Bam.
All right. Well, let's move on here now. Really, now I just want to like write songs. Now I want to write the songs that make the whole world sing.
You'll write the songs. Yeah, let's do it.
I think we can.
Songs that make the whole world sing.
Yeah, see? We all know a little Barry Manilow in our lives. Absolutely.
I already had an idea about some baseball ones. And I think it's going to be, I'm trying to decide. And I love you, Jack Mayhew. Love TJ Mayhew. Something like that. We could do it with Jose Abreu.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could.
Know the band? Did you ever know the band The Capitol Steps, or the comedy group The Capitol Steps?
No.
So they were a group in DC. Maybe they still exist, and they basically just did all political satire in musical form, and they're freaking hilarious. And I remember them back in like the Dan Quayle, George Bush era, and they did a whole album of like these like parodies that were all political, and they're really hysterical. And it's basically just a troupe of four, comedians that all sing, and they just take music and make it popular. We could do this for sports.
I think we can do this for sports. I'm liking this. I'm very much liking this. This is a great idea. This is it. This could be the winner right here. You might have to debut something on Friday's show, Friday's Alarm After Hours. You might have to debut something that you didn't do here on the live stream.
Okay. All right. Send me ideas, guys, because I'm tapped out already.
Oh, I've got some ideas. We're going to do like an NFL free agency album. Then we could do like a full sports album as well.
Yeah.
Some great stuff.
Wait till the holiday tunes come around.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Have you heard the 12 Days of Fantasy Baseball on the Fantasy Alarm Show yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah. Yep. We, I think we're on 6 Vets a Fading right now is where we were. You can catch that on the Fantasy Alarm Show, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. It's always we always finish off our show with the 12 Days of Fantasy Baseball as we die and wait for all this to happen. All right, so Jen, now listen, you've told me how you've gotten into sports and into fantasy baseball. Rick Wolf from Fantasy Alarm introduced you and I, which is how you ended up with us here.
Lucky? So, by the way, guys, let me just, first of all, I only met Howard for the first time in person in February. Before that, we only met virtually via live stream. And thankfully to Rick Wolf, because they were looking for someone to help with their live streams. and they were hoping to have a female. So I totally lucked out because, of course, there's a million men that can do this, but I got lucky because they wanted a girl. So Rick Wolf called me up. He's like, you know, do you do football? And I'm like, well, I mean, I play a little fantasy football, but I'm not an expert or anything. He's like, I think you can be. Start studying, and you're gonna have an audition with Howard. So I started studying, and you know, I love that, and I love it now. Like, I love a challenge, right? So I'm studying everything, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is just like baseball, no problem. And I meet Howard, and we do our first live stream, and I text him afterward, and I say, Howard, I'm sorry if I was really kind of distracted on the live stream. You know, I think that maybe me and my boyfriend just broke up, and I was really distracted. And Howard texted back, well, that guy's fantasy season is going to suck. And I was like, that's my place.
Right? So there you go. So boyfriend not in the picture anymore.
Well.
Oh, is he? Is he back?
Yeah. Oh.
Did you give him another chance?
Complicated, Howard.
Oh, I'm listening.
Talk about it.
Oh, well, I hope that his fantasy team still sucks. How about that? Whatever his name is. Now, let's talk about the main man in your life. And we know it's not me, your work husband, and we know it's not this other guy whose fantasy team sucks. The main man in your life set himself up a Twitter account specifically to troll his daughter.
Yeah.
Talk to me here. I want the best thing about Rick Piacenti, and I want the worst thing. This is all like in relation to you. Best thing about your dad, worst thing about your dad.
Okay.
Yeah, you're on the spot.
I am on the spot. Best thing about my dad is my dad thinks I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I have no idea why. But I'm not going to complain about it because he's my dad and he loves me and he's like all about it. So that's the best thing about my dad. He's always positive. He always believes in me. He thinks I'm the best, et cetera, right? Worst thing about my dad?
Can't say his pie to the face technique because that was 100% on point.
Can't say that, no.
His deadpan sense of humor, 100% on point.
On point.
His acceptance of your coworkers and welcoming into the family, 100% on point. On point.
I would say maybe the sometimes, and he hasn't done this recently, but the sometimes Eeyore style voicemails I'll get. They're like, it's your dad. Call me back. Whenever, like, if you have time, just call him to see how you are. Maybe that's the worst thing.
All right.
Yeah, I can't really complain a lot about my dad. I mean, trolling on Twitter, it's a little annoying. But then not, because it makes him happy. He's retired. If he has no one to make fun of, can't really complain.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. You're probably re-invited back into Thanksgiving dinner this year. 100%. 100%. Man, your student obviously loves you here. I'm seeing ask her how many round brushes she has.
I have a lot of round brushes, and I use them to dry my hair because I grew up in Texas, y'all, and we love hair, and we like to do dramatic, things with our hair. And so one time Cole came over and he saw my collection of it's actually like a bin, and it's got like 12 of them, all different sizes. And he's like, Jennifer, how many round brushes does one girl need? And I'm like, oh, this is my initial supply. I have more under the cabinet. I have a lot.
Okay.
I have a lot.
All right. Well, wait. Let's see. Wait. Oh, Is there a Hall of Jen in the Piacenti house?
Yes, it's a little embarrassing. It's very sweet and slightly embarrassing. My dad has made a hall in his home. That's my playbills from all the performances I did in New York, along with my reviews and my picture and my headshot and my bio in the program. And they're like lining the wall.
So the wall of Jen looks like Sardi's, basically.
Basically, yeah.
I like that.
Like Sardi's.
Oh, look at this. At Not So Slim Shadle, apparently he's breaking up with you because you don't like Chinese food.
Oh, but we had a good run. We love the Cowboys.
Right?
No, I like Chinese food. It's just not my favorite. I wouldn't say I have strong opinions on Chinese food.
Yeah, let's go full allegiance here. So Cowboys for and Astros. Like, Cowboys for football, Astros. Do you go with the other sports? Do you have a hockey team? Do you have a basketball team?
Not really. If I had a basketball team, it would be the Mavericks because that's the one I grew up rooting for.
Okay.
But I don't really follow NBA the way I should, so I think I'm going to start. Is
Fensty's not teaching you?
He is. He is teaching me.
He's been trying to teach me for years right now. I'm still not biting.
You're still not in it?
When you're overweight and you've got no 3-point shot and no vertical leap, basketball just not the game for me.
I don't have any of those things. I don't play any of the sports.
I don't know. Like, baseball always fit me, like my role models like Luis Soho, Cecil Fielder, Mo Vaughn. Like, those are my heroes. Kirby Puckett.
Yeah, my hero is like Sid Charisse. You don't even know who that is, probably. Well, you might.
Really? You don't think I know who Sid Charisse is? Here you go. Bender story. I dated a girl who was named Charisse, who was named after Sid Charisse.
She's the best. The lady in green from Singing in the Rain. Come on, guys. You want to see some amazing dancing.
100%. 100%. Oh, look, Cheyenne's in the room. Look at that.
Yeah. Hey, girl.
Right? See, talking about like relationships with your subscribers, Cheyenne, her husband, Ryan, her kids, River, Ryder, and Relic. I love them all. I'm going to South Dakota to go visit the Bailey family, and they're gonna like put me up for like a week.
Perfect.
Hang out there. Do some cooking with Relic. It's quite
fish in the pan.
Fish in the pan. Cheyenne wants to know best pizza and tacos in Vegas.
Ooh, the tacos at the Venetian. There's a good Mexican place. I can't remember what it's called. They have good tacos. And the best pizza in Vegas. I'm not sure. That's a good question. Probably one of the pizzas at Otto, Mario Batali's pizza place.
I don't know. Is that located in the New York? Because if it's not located in the New York, then how could it be the best pizza?
It's located in the Venetian, so it's located like in Italy. Hello. That's how.
Pizza from Italy sucks.
Hello.
Come on. Might as well just be like flatbread with like some sauce on it.
By the way, did you notice? I think Cheyenne is hinting that we should take a trip to Vegas.
Okay. FSGA. Next FSGA conference is in Vegas. Let's do it.
Is it?
Ah.
Wasn't the last one in Vegas?
I think they're doing another one in Vegas. I think the next one's in Dallas, and then the one after that should be back in Vegas, I think.
All right. Well, I have to make sure that I'm still on good terms with Fantasy Alarm. I don't get kicked off the live streams.
Well, you know what? You cut that album for us, and you will always be forever in our hearts. All right. So before we get on out of here, Jen Piacenti, one thing that nobody out in the public world knows about you that you would like to share with them that we didn't cover on today's live stream. What do you got for us? Come on. One fun fact about Jen Piacenti.
Here's a fun fact. I hiked to the bottom of the Grand Canyon and back up.
Ooh.
Yes, I did.
How long did it take you?
It sounded horrible. So I hiked down, spent the night, and then I hiked back up in about 4 hours, which actually was under the time that they say you're supposed to be able to do it in. But it got to where it was so miserable that I just didn't even want to stop. I just kept going. And the person I was hiking was like, do you want to stop? And I was like, no, just go. Just go. Like, we just have to go. Like, I knew we had to get it over with. But when you get to the top, it's amazing. It really is one of the coolest things I've ever done. Afterwards, we drove straight to Vegas. And I couldn't walk for like 3 days. Like, actually, like I tried to stand up out of the bed and I almost like fell on my face. It was crazy, but it was truly, truly like one of the biggest physical challenges and one of the coolest things I've ever done. What's
the height on that?
You know what? I have all the stats somewhere. I wish I'd memorized them so I could tell you off the top of my head. But I will let you know. It's a lot. It's a few miles.
I've been to the Grand Canyon. It's a lot.
Yeah. It's and we went down the South Kaibab Trail. That's the prettier trail. And it's got all the sunrise and sunset spots. And then we came up the Bright Angel, which is the more heavily traversed trail. So if you ever do it, that's the way I would recommend doing it. You'll get the better views on the way down. It'll be a little bit easier on the way up that way. But I've also hiked halfway down on a separate occasion and back up. That's hard enough if you just want like a day challenge. So.
I don't want any kind of a challenge like that. Sorry. Have you ever been to Red Rocks in Colorado?
No.
Red Rocks Amphitheater. If you park in the lot below, then you have to hike up to get to the and I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And I'm like, oh, honey, I gotta stop for a few minutes here. Like wheezing like a goat. I'm like, ugh. So I can't even imagine doing the Grand Canyon. So kudos to you for doing that. Look at you.
Thanks. Yeah. That was a few years ago. I'm not sure I'm in that kind of shape anymore.
Oh, stop it. Yeah. Don't throw that fishing line out there. We love you, Jen Piacenti.
I used to exercise a lot. I was in really excellent shape, and now I do a lot more sitting around.
You play tennis. You just said you played tennis.
I do play tennis. I do play tennis.
That's exercise.
That's true.
That is true.
But I don't go to the dance studio 6 days a week anymore, so I feel like.
Oh, well. Maybe Rick Piacenti can send that jazz costume to you from home, and maybe you put that back on and you get yourself to the dance studio. Then how about that?
Okay, good idea.
We want photos. We want video evidence that this is happening now.
Okay, I'll do it. Can I be the bunny suit?
Well, there you go. What?
Can I do it in the bunny suit?
Oh, I would expect you to do it in the bunny suit.
The Velveteen Rabbit suit?
Absolutely. Whatever costume you want. Okay. I don't care. Doesn't matter, but as long as it's a costume, do it up. Why not? I'm wearing my sumo suit right now, right?
Oh, yeah. Why not?
You guys thought I was this heavy? Come on. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Meet the Family with the Fantasy Alarm live stream. Jen Piacenti, everybody give her a follow on Twitter. All right. Listen to her on Alarm After Hours with Justin Fensterman every Friday night, midnight to 2 a.m. Eastern. You'll catch her on the Fantasy Alarm Show from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern every once in a while with me as well, Jim Bowden too. So lots going on here, and let's get ready. Let's all stay safe. Let's all stay smart. Let's all wash our hands, and we'll catch you next time. Big thanks to Matt Sells for producing. Woo.